Sports Professor Rick Horrow, welcome to Beyond the Scoreboard, the $1 trillion+ business of sports, showcasing after the Major League Baseball All-Star festivities, the economics there. Tremendous open in Carnoustie. Yeah, training camps are starting in basketball and hockey just around the corner. It's more than $1 trillion business. If you want to hear about all of the stuff, our 15 to watch, 5 high tech, 5 technology, and philanthropy. Look at csnwashington.com, at Rick Horrow, horrowsports.com. We got a lot of places where you can get all of the topics in one place. Also, subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Audio Boom, Stitcher, iTunes, all of those normal places. We'll talk about the recap of the All-Star festivities and what they mean to Washington. But first, I think it's probably important, given what happened with Tiger Woods this week. He was one shot up, and if the round ended after 10 holes on Sunday, the guy would have been the champion. Unbelievable. But he couldn't outlast Jordan Spieth, Rory McIlroy, Justin Rose, Xander Schauffele, but more importantly, Francisco Molinari. But thanks to Tiger, who briefly held a one-shot lead and finished tied for 6, many other winners at Carnoustie and beyond. Take KT tape, the adhesive that Woods sported on the back of his neck on Thursday and Friday after a bad night's sleep. Company officials said they sold roughly double the amount of product they sell on an average day due to the fortuitous product placement, according to ESPN. Apex Marketing Group estimated the KT tape received nearly $4 million in equivalent advertising from the 2 logos visible on Woods' neck. Golf Channel also benefited from Woods' presence. Total audience delivery for its Open Championship Round 1 was up 27% from last year, and the most watched opening round at the Open in its 3 years on the cable network. Haven't even seen the overnights from NBC, the weekend, and of course we will. Also getting a boost is next month's final WGC Bridgestone Invitational held in Cleveland.
We're going to take a short break, but when we return, more Rick Horrow, the Sports Professor. Welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard with Rick Horrow. We pick up right where we left off.
Woods' top 10 finish boosted his world golf rating to 50. Yay, so he qualified. Next year, the tournament moves to Memphis, by the way. September's Ryder Cup in Paris is now more eagerly awaited. The biggest winner of all? Golf fans, all of us, happy to once again see Tiger in the hunt at a major on Sunday. All of us in the DMV, even more special because of the afterglow with Major League Baseball. But wait, it's not all exciting, but yet we'll get through it. Potential lockout at the end of the 2021 season could be in the making for Major League Baseball if players continue to be displeased with the CBA. The Sports Business Journal says labor tensions continue to escalate between baseball and the association. And Association Executive Director Tony Clark said last winter's slower free agent market represented a direct attack on players' rights. What the players saw last off-season is the free agency rights under direct attack. And those rights have been a bedrock of the economic system, said Clark. Commissioner Manfred defended the league, noting the slower free agency period came down to club choices on the relative merits of available players. The only purposeful behavior that took place in the labor market last year was clubs carefully analyzed the available players and made individual decisions on what those players are worth, said Manfred. That's how markets operate. Well, Major League Baseball enjoyed labor peace for 25 years and counting. Look for mutually lucrative streak to be held up in the next 3 years. Baseball hopefully continues that streak as they look at the goose and not killing the one that laid the golden egg. but certainly specifics as far as baseball rise above any labor issues. Last week, we shared the Cal Ripken Senior Foundation and they designing and constructing 10 youth development parks in 5 years in MLB markets across the country. Able to do so thanks in part to a $5 million gift from Group 1001. We're incredibly honored by the commitment made by Group 1001, which will provide thousands of kids across the country with a safe place to play, learn, and grow, said Hall of Famer and Ripken Foundation Vice Chairman Cal Ripken Jr. Together with Group 1001 and our friends at MLB, we look forward to bringing a positive environment and mentoring programs that will help guide our youth both on the field and in the game of life, said Dan Tauris, CEO of Group 1001. Like MLB and the Ripken Foundation, we believe in our duty to empower people to chase their dreams and to support the communities in most need of empowerment through education and sports, he concluded. Since 2009, the Ripken Foundation has 78 completed parks across the country, impacting over 280,000 kids annually. And by the way, it's not just this particular incident. The Twins took the All-Star game to talk about growing the sport of baseball in Minnesota. Fields for Kids in their program, created in 1999, they've granted more than $4.3 million in matching grants and helped reconstruct 789 ballparks across the upper Midwest and Southwest Florida. Fort Myers is where the Twins spring train. And also philanthropic, we can't forget this, an incredibly important issue. 2018 and the 10th anniversary of MLB's relationship with Stand Up to Cancer. Each year at the All-Star Game and Series, MLB had a placard moment. Everyone in the crowd stands up and a moment of silence. MLB generating $43 million for cancer research. To know that sport of baseball shows a tremendous amount of support to the fight against cancer is awesome. Phillies outfielder Rhys Hoskins, who had a great home run derby, but he also lost his mother to cancer. Get a little bit emotional inside every time I see the Stand Up to Cancer placard moments. Obviously, a major positive benefit for Major League Baseball and Stand Up to Cancer. And by the way, new media causing baseball to be even better. Yahoo Sports said MLB worked hard hand in hand with players and the MLB Players Association during the game to allow players to use cell phones on the field in the hopes it would encourage them to share their points of view and all-star experiences. After big plays and seemingly mundane moments alike, players got together on the field to take selfies throughout the evening before sharing them online. Fans love seeing personalities of their favorite players come to life during the game, and they were treated to just that, said MLB Senior Vice President of Marketing Barbara McHugh. The league's cell phone acceptance here shows the intent to better connect with younger fans, something that baseball has struggled with as of late. Well, yeah, but that also brings us to our guest this week, and not just Major League Baseball, but the 160 minor league teams as well. Minor League Baseball and ISM Connect with a significant expenditure, long-term agreement, a leading provider of data metrics smart screen engagement technology built to promote enhanced live experiences all over the country. The ISM Connect network of high-def LCD smart screens provide minor league baseball stadiums innovative technology, content, and the like. Multi-million-dollar deal across many of the minor league ballparks as well. Minor League Baseball, as we know, nearly 42 million fans to its ballparks last year, and over 13 years in a row. And for advertisers, these super screens help amortize the investment and advertise. For minor league teams, a new way to generate content across all platforms, an experiment that Major League Baseball should also get, obviously. ISM Connect, a leader in this kind of technology. They, as you may remember, put the name on Phoenix International Raceway in anticipation of their new multi-million-dollar renovation and their race next November. And Kent Heyman has been the CEO since 2017. He's had a history of creating high-tech delivery of these kinds of situations, as well as multimedia. JD in Law, University Pacific, BA in Political Science, Cal State, Fresno. He has a entrepreneurial bent, and as his curriculum resume describes, serial entrepreneur by day, lawyer by night, successfully launched and managed many businesses in the tech space. By the way, his son also plays and played minor league baseball. Ken Heyman, a lot to tell us about the business, minor league baseball, and beyond. Rick Horrow, inside the boardroom, beyond the scoreboard, at the AAA All-Star Game Sponsor Summit. Minor League Baseball, so visionary in putting this all together, second year in a row. But we're talking general sports as well, with an industry leader from ISM Connect, who not only has a revolutionary new deal with minor league baseball, but is involved in racing all over the place. Phoenix Raceway, because it's the ISM Raceway now, which is not Phoenix International Raceway.
Yes, sir.
So obviously a really, really important process. Ken Heyman, good to speak with you.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you very much for this. So let me ask you this. First, let me read from it. Serial entrepreneur by day, lawyer by night, successfully launched and managed many businesses in tech space. Your son also, first and most important thing, your son plays in the Orioles minor league system?
No, he was with the Diamondbacks.
We're going to take a short break, but when we return, more Rick Horrow, the sports professor. Welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard with Rick Horrow. We pick up right where we left off.
First and most important thing, your son plays in the Orioles minor league system?
No, he was with the Diamondbacks. He's now in the independent baseball league playing for the Winnipeg Goldeyes.
So old information, but still, he's got the bug.
He's got the bug.
And Dad's got the bug to watch him.
Yeah.
Do you see him? Do you watch him play a lot?
So it's great being here and being involved with minor league baseball, because I am a huge fan of minor league baseball, to the point where I probably see 80 or 90 games a year between watching him in person or watching him on a webcast, and I've been doing it ever since he's come up through the Diamondbacks organization. So for 5 years now, I've been in lots of ballparks. They were talking upstairs a little bit about Asparagus Day at the Stockton Ports, and I was actually at Asparagus Day for the Stockton Ports.
I was going to say, I'm not sure you want to admit it, but yes, you do. You are uniquely positioned to be proud of that and take advantage of it. And what a segue, because we talk about social media, we're talking about streaming, obviously high-tech, sports, minor league baseball. So tell us about ISM Connect.
Yeah, so ISM Connect, really, I see ourselves as a vehicle to unlock a little bit of what's good about minor league baseball in a way that helps people who participate, whether it's the fans themselves, first and foremost, of course, the event owners themselves, and sponsors that want to participate in the sport and connect with the fans in a meaningful way. So we try to apply our network, which is a network of digitally activated smart screens, in a way that allows fans to connect with the game in a way that is a little above and beyond the way it was done 20 years ago, but more of the same thing. The great thing about minor league baseball is accessibility. You can sit 4 or 5 rows up and see the players. You can talk with players after the game. They'll sign autographs. They'll flip you a baseball. And how do you unlock that in a way that enhances that fan experience?
And you, as quoted from the release, the largest in-venue connected advertising network in sport and entertainment, that's pretty lofty.
Yeah, it's just pretty lofty. So by opening day of next year, we'll have at least 40 minor league baseball parks networked with our network of smart digital signage. So in each one of those ballparks, there'll be an opportunity for local and regional sponsors to participate and connect with fans, for fans to connect with players and other content providers. I'm digressing, but I talked to one of the owners today, and he said, I'm really not a team owner. He said, I own a content company. We create content, and we want to give people the opportunity to live with that content and participate with it. And at ISM Connect, we enable that transaction. So we do it in a way that makes it good for all of the participants in that transaction, the fan, the sponsor, and the event host.
So from a minor league baseball perspective, what turns you on most? Is it the 40 million fans a year for the last 13 years? Is it the vision and leadership? Is it the grassroots aspect? Is it the storytelling aspect? Is it all of that?
It's all of that. So first of all, minor league baseball is a great opportunity for us to deploy our network because it attracts some 40 million plus fans a year and growing. But it's done in increments of 4, 5, 6,000 at a time. So it doesn't really attract a national television audience. Right. So what we can do is we can network 40, 50, 60 ballparks in a way that a national brand can connect with those fans, just as though it were a television network, but in the context of the game. So when our network is up, we will be able to enhance the entertainment value and enhance the connectivity for sponsors.
So we're halfway home as far as the sponsorship of your big assets. Tell us about ISM Raceway, the renovation of the old Phoenix International Raceway, the opening in November. You're proud of that.
Yeah, so our original network was NASCAR, and so we're obviously very excited about our participation in ISM Raceway. ISM Raceway will be an example of a connected venue where a fan can go and connect with all of the things that make that experience special. We're opening up, as you know, in November, and we think ISM Raceway will be an example of what can be done in an event to make that experience a little better for the fan. The sport is great, fans enjoy it now, but if they can enjoy it a little more, then we'll have done our job.
What, besides being a sports fan and a big baseball fan, obviously a racing fan, what made you pursue the link so successfully between vertically integrated connectivity but using the sports industry to help sell it and make people aware of it?
So my partner and I, Maury Gallagher, were involved in a predecessor company, and we did a very similar thing at retail. So we design a lot of the retail experiences if you use devices in Verizon or AT&T wireless stores, and it's a phenomenal opportunity for us to deploy our platform. But we were looking for something that got us out of the retail store and into the public eye more so. So we did an acquisition about a year ago of a company that had just secured the digital rights agreement for NASCAR. That's how we got into the business. We were very impressed with their scrappiness, their ability to get in there. And, NASCAR is unique. They don't have 70 games in a ballpark. They've got 1 or 2 races. So we have mobile assets that we transport from venue to venue. And it's tricky. We learned how to do it. We do it very well. But now that we have the opportunity to take those learnings into permanent assets at these ballparks, some of which do more than baseball, some of which also might have soccer games in the off season or host concerts or other functions, and we'll be able to deploy our network in a way that enhances that experience for all those events.
It's the advantage for you because you basically have control over the spending of the assets. You have the ability to deploy the direction of your company. You're also a sports marketing guy. How much of these decisions is based on ROI, metrics, analytics, and how much is based on intuition and gut?
Well, it's, where we deploy our network is based on probably some combination of all of those things. So as far as our deployments in minor league baseball, we certainly want tech-interested and entrepreneurial owners because we're going to need their cooperation. We certainly want markets that are desirable to our cornerstone sponsors. And we certainly want places that we can easily get to and do what we have to do from a physical standpoint. Obviously, there are some cold weather places we'd like to construct, but we're not going to construct them in January, so we have to measure the timing of where we deploy. But we want the places where we're going to be able to do the most good for the sport.
So basically, and I know this is oversimplifying it, but you're developing a national media network from the facility out.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we're building the network, and with the cooperation of really a coalition of teams, brands, event hosts, we're going to be able to deploy that network in a way that elevates the experience for everybody that attends.
What's next?
Well, we'd like to take this into there are some other sports that have expressed interest.
Now, you coach youth basketball, correct? Is that past tense?
It's past tense. I coached.
Can you still jump?
I never could jump. I could shoot a little. Unfortunately, my shot range is inside the three-point line because I didn't have one of those when I played basketball.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Is that a hint at what you might be doing next, or is it just whatever opportunities come up first?
Well, we love what we're doing now. And, Clark Kellogg today in the luncheon speech talked about gratitude. We're grateful for this opportunity. I mean, to be here with all these great partners at MILB and having had the opportunity to meet a number of the team owners and general managers and even seeing some of the players today that are knocking on the door of the major leagues. It's great to be able to be involved with that.
Where do you think the business is going broadly defined in the next 10 years? And I'm talking about the business of sports and sports media. Hard question to answer.
Particularly hard since I've only been in it for 1 year.
Yeah.
But projecting for 10 years, look, people love sports. People love the experience around sports. But as you watch what people do at athletic events right now, what do they have in their hand? It's a phone, right? They've all got it. They're all looking at it, and they want to use that to be able to interact in a meaningful way with what's going on the field. So capitalizing upon that interaction in a way that allows the fan to enjoy the game while they're at it and take some of that enjoyment away from the game with them when they leave the ballpark. That's really where we'll see sports going.
So my final question is more of an academic one too, and I thought I was fairly well read, obviously not enough. So here's some of this guy's publications. Defining the roles of structured knowledge and unstructured information for efficient problem resolution. Support world structured knowledge, the key optimal contact center efficiency, knowledge management tools and techniques. What the hell does that mean?
Well, that's a very good question, and you would probably need some of our top secret algorithms to parse through that.
Oh, boy.
No, we used to, in one of my past lives, I ran a knowledge management software company. So it's not a lot different than some of the things we do with our algorithms now that we'll be deploying for things like credentialing based on facial recognition and other things where, the self-learning efficacy of the software is improved over time.
Media mogul, basketball coach, baseball coach, minor league aficionado, agent/father to a rising baseball player, a founder of an incredible company. Ken Hyman, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Really good.
Great to meet you.
Rick Horrow, see you soon. Look for ISM Connect to be a very important player in the digital space, but even more important, look for the notion of fan content as another way Major League and Minor League Baseball reach out together to look at millennials as you move forward, give them a reason for going, staying engaged, and cutting.
We're going to take a short break, but when we return, more Rick Horrow, the sports professor. Welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard with Rick Horrow, the sports professor. We're going to rewind our featured interview, reset the show a little bit, and pick up from there. Here's Rick Horrow.
You have the ability to deploy the direction of your company. You're also a sports marketing guy. How much of these decisions is based on ROI, metrics, analytics, and how much is based on intuition and gut?
Well, it's, where we deploy our network is based on probably some combination of all of those things. So as far as our deployments in minor league baseball, we certainly want tech interested and entrepreneurial owners because we're going to need their cooperation cooperation. We certainly want markets that are desirable to our cornerstone sponsors, and we certainly want places that we can easily get to and do what we have to do from a physical standpoint. Obviously, there are some cold weather places we'd like to construct, but we're not going to construct them in January, so we have to measure the timing of where we deploy. But we want the places where we're going to be able to do the most good for the sport.
So basically, and I know this is oversimplifying it, but you're developing a national media network from the facility out.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we're building the network. And with the cooperation of really a coalition of teams, brands, and event hosts, we're going to be able to deploy that network in a way that elevates the experience for everybody that attends.
What's next?
Well, we'd like to take this into there are some other sports that have expressed interest.
Now, you coach youth basketball, correct? Is that past tense?
It's past tense.
I coach. Short. Can you still jump?
I never could jump. I could shoot a little. Unfortunately, my shot range is inside the 3-point line because I didn't have one of those when I played basketball.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Is that a hint at what you might be doing next, or is it just whatever opportunities come up first?
Well, we love what we're doing now. And, Clark Kellogg today in the luncheon speech talked about gratitude. We're grateful for this opportunity. I mean, to be here with all these great partners at MILB and having had the opportunity to meet a number of the team owners and general managers and even seeing some of the players today that are knocking on the door of the major leagues. It's great to be able to be involved with that.
Where do you think the business is going broadly defined in the next 10 years? And I'm talking about the business of sports and sports media. Hard question to answer.
Particularly hard since I've only been in it for 1 year.
Yeah.
But projecting for 10 years, look, people love sports. People love the experience around sports. But as you watch what people do at athletic events right now, what do they have in their hand? It's a phone, right? They've all got it. They're all looking at it, and they want to use that to be able to interact in a meaningful way with what's going on the field. So capitalizing upon that interaction in a way that allows the fan to enjoy the game while they're at it and take some of that enjoyment away from the game with them when they leave the ballpark. That's really where we'll see sports going.
So my final question is more of an academic one too, and I thought I was fairly well read, obviously not enough. So here's some of this guy's publications. Defining the roles of structured knowledge and unstructured information for efficient problem resolution. Support world structure knowledge, the key optimal contact center efficiency, knowledge management tools and techniques. What the hell does that mean?
Well, that's a very good question, and you would probably need some of our top secret algorithms to parse through that.
Oh, boy.
No, we used to, at one of my past lives, I ran a knowledge management software company. So it's not a lot different than some of the things we do with our algorithms now that we'll be deploying for things like credentialing based on facial recognition and other things where, the self-learning efficacy of the software is improved over time.
Media mogul, basketball coach, baseball coach, minor league aficionado, agent/father to a rising baseball player, founder of an incredible company. Ken Hyman, thank you very much. Thanks. Really good.
It's great to meet you.
Rick Horrow, see you soon. Look for ISM Connect to be a very important player in the digital space, but even more important, look for the notion of fan content as another way Major League and Minor League Baseball reach out together to look at millennials as you move forward, give them a reason for going, staying engaged, and cutting across all these channels. Certainly something to watch. Well, we can't leave any podcast without talking about NFL. Yeah, camps are opening. We couldn't wait. NFL generated record revenue in 2017, estimated to be over $14 billion, each team receiving about $256 million based on the current revenue sharing agreement. According to John Wall Street, the $8 billion revenue split from TV deals, road game revenue sharing, and other factors represent a new league record and a 4.9% year-over-year increase. The boom in the value of TV rights largely fueled the overall growth in revenue, as did Amazon's new Thursday night deal. As summed up by John Wall Street, it's time we put to rest the notion the NFL is declining in popularity. Player protests, brain injuries, criminal accusations, none of it's had any impact on revenue generation. But one red flag for the NFL, the White House, as the anthem kneeling controversy looks to stretch into its third season after the league's decision to hold off implementing its new anthem policy. Donald Trump again takes to the social media to voice his displeasure with the NFL and its, in his words, $40 million commissioner. I say, let him just play ball. Well, and given us some perspective as well, the Packers had an impressive year from 17-18, record revenues and expenses. And this is also how you get the league-wide revenues, because as you know, the Packers are a public company, and you can just divide the revenue sharing and multiply it. The Green Bay Press-Gazette talked about the year ending March 31, where the Packers brought in about $455 million in revenue, up $13 million from last year. Team expenses went up, jumping $44.8 million, but yet revenue benefited from additional money from shared national TV contracts, growth in local income, largely as a result of new sponsorships. The team ultimately reported net income of about $40 million, $34 million less than last year, but the numbers are impressive. The team still missed out on a potentially significant revenue driver, the playoffs. Look for the Packers' financials to be even stronger if they do make the playoffs this season, and it pretty much looks like they have a great team heading into the playoffs. Let's talk tech and football. Pro Football Hall of Fame added a virtual reality tool for quarterbacks, QB Sim, at its Canton, Ohio site in advance of the Class of 18 induction. They incorporate Oculus virtual reality headset, an actual football displayed outfitting with trackers, NFL data that simulates on-field action displayed by a large video screen. The chief of technical officers for Sports VTS said QB SIM, inspired by Ted Sundquist, the company's CEO and former general manager of the Broncos. Ted noticed the second and third string quarterbacks weren't getting enough reps. Being a graduate of the Air Force Academy, he knew they trained their top pilots using simulators. The technology finally caught up with sports. Sports VTS has several former NFL quarterbacks serving as advisors. Jeff Garcia, also playing with the Browns, and a former Pro Bowler. Finally, the NFL philanthropically, Tanner McAvoy, the Seahawks wide receiver and special teams standout, showcased even more of his versatility this week when he took the title of Microsoft Store Pro Athlete Charity Fortnite Tournament champion to earn $50,000 for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. The inaugural competition featured McAvoy competing alongside several of his NFL brethren who were playing Fortnite from various Microsoft Store locations around the country, including Seahawks teammates Rashard Penny, who was in San Diego, and Rashawn Green in LA. The entire video game streamed online. I've been gaming a long time, he said. With Fortnite coming out, it's kind of taken over. The mission of St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital is to advance cures of catastrophic pediatric diseases. Consistent with his vision of founder Danny Thomas, no child denied treatment based on race, religion, or family's ability to pay. And here's the biggest issue. We talk about the NFL kneeling and not kneeling. Let's not forget that issue, but let's really kind of focus on charity, philanthropy, and what the NFL is really doing heading into training camp. Well, finally, let's focus on the World Cup. It ended, but let's see some business issues and where we're going with the entire world of soccer. Well, according to Thews Sports, IBM, and Fox Sports, Spain, Croatia, and Belgium, the most exciting teams to participate in this World Cup. Thews Sports, an automated short-form sports video production company and metadata service, teamed up with the other companies to measure how exciting all the teams were during the month-long tournament. The proprietary algorithm used ranked Spain atop the table with a score of 93.5. Croatia and third-place Belgium both at 91. Despite winning the World Cup, France came in 7th. Game pace, team parity, play novelty, momentum shifts, social buzz, historical context, all used. How about winning? How about that? They should have used that. The quarterfinal match between Croatia and host nation Russia was given a perfect score of 100, making it the tournament's most exciting match, certainly for Croatia, maybe not necessarily for Russia. Well, the World Cup, a massive success. 44.5 million people watched the BBC's coverage of the month-long tournament, while 66.8 million match requests live and on demand on the BBC Sport website. The massive connection clearly shows the age and mobile devices and non-linear viewing. Major sports are only shows capable of such large audiences, and the BBC and its .com certainly was very important. Well, we leave the World Cup, but we focus on international. Cristiano Ronaldo, officially a member of Juventus, the Italian heavyweights looking to capitalize on the financial boom of the Portuguese phenom, expected to bring to Turin. He at least had a pretty good couple of weeks between Molinari and Ronaldo. But according to the London Times, Back to Soccer, the acquisition primarily about closing the financial gap between that club and seemingly recession-proof clubs like Real Madrid, Barcelona, Man U, and Bayern Munich. And despite having won the past 7 Serie A titles in Italy and reaching 2 of the past 4 Champions League finals, Juventus still lags behind the super clubs from a commercial revenue standpoint. Those other clubs bring in well over 250 euros in revenue, 250 million, while Juventus only about 101 million. And despite his age of 33, Ronaldo, one of only a handful of players in the world that can move the commercial needle single-handedly. And since rumors started swirling of Ronaldo's potential move to Turin, Juventus stock prices have been soaring upward. Let's see if the momentum continues. Staying in Italy, Roma becoming the first Serie A club.
We're going to take a short break, but when we return, more Rick Horrow, the sports professor. Welcome back to Beyond the Scoreboard with Rick Horrow. We pick up right where we left off.
To broadcast live games on Twitter. Over 100,000 fans tuned in to the game via the club's Italian Twitter account, clicking total viewing time just over 1 year and 224 days. When we set up Roma Studio back in 2014, our goal, they said, was to be able to control how we delivered the most compelling content to our supporters around the world. We made a great effort in recent years to embrace new technology and platforms with our TV channel, radio station, and social media club, and this season we'll continue to innovate in a way that brings our fans closer to the club. Snapchat, Instagram, and other digital platforms. Well, that means international soccer is stronger than ever, and hopefully the U.S. is poised uniquely to take advantage of that as the World Cup morphs into a distant memory. And then we look at Qatar in 2022 and the U.S., Canada, and Mexico in 2026. But we focus on South Florida, According to Sports Pro, Beckham and his business partner Jorge Mas still working to secure a property for that elusive Miami MLS stadium. There will be a referendum on this site issue with Miami voters in mid-November. Mel Reese Country Club. I grew up on that golf course near the Miami airport, but Miami's only municipal golf course. Lack of transparency we're talking about. The deal done, but voters vote on it. Maybe finally we get it done or not. I've grown up in Miami for 50 years, and I don't believe a stadium gets done till we cut the ribbon, have one game, maybe even a whole season. Miami needs soccer. Soccer needs Miami. Hopefully they get the deal done soon. Well, that's it for Beyond the Scoreboard today. We'd like to thank Kent Heyman and ISM Connect for lending their expertise. I'd like to thank Dan Martin and Tanner Simpkins for helping put this together. I'd like to thank Cal Ripken Group 1001 for hosting the amazing press event last week. And I'd like to thank you guys for listening and watching and joining us next week when we go Beyond the Scoreboard.